President Trump has declared that he wants to be seen as a peacemaker. He wants to be somebody who's responsible for ending wars, not starting them. And realistically, if we look at his first term, he did not start any new major wars, and he actually tried to wind up the old ones. In the second term, even before he took office, he was adamant that he wanted to see an end to the Russia-Ukraine war, and also on Palestine, he took a very strong stance where he made it a precondition of his inauguration ceremony that he wanted a ceasefire. The first time that there was a ceasefire was the one which was organized by Trump right before his inauguration. And even at that time, the Palestinians were close to starving and they had no food or medicines. And there was a complete ceasefire that took place for about a couple of months. And food and medicine and everything was organized to be delivered and was delivered to the people in Gaza. And so it's interesting in terms of the people who oppose him, because there are a lot of people out there, who are strongly critical of Trump because of the Palestinian issue, and they are right to a large extent. But it's just important to note that, none of the other countries, none of the other people, none of the other scholars, influencers, none of them was able to have a ceasefire in Palestine even for a day. And it was Trump, who made this a precondition for the inauguration and organized the ceasefire. Now, the fact that, again, it turned back to a bad situation is something that we'll discuss again. But it's also important to understand that, as I think the entire world knows, the president of the US isn't entirely a free person. He has to operate in a very, tight spot. We all know about a president that was shot, and we also know that there was an assassination attempt on Trump himself before he was inaugurated or elected as president. And so, he's got to operate within that space. So a lot of people will just look at what he says, but I think, like everybody else in this world, it's important to look at what people do rather than what people say. So, although he talks about the casinos and resettlement and everything, but the reality is, on the ground so far in terms of the score, he was the only person who was successfully able to organize a ceasefire, although it was still relatively brief.